I'm Dr. Davo, and this is an introduction on the letter to 2 Timothy. And after this introduction, we're going to do a 12-series presentation or teaching on the letter. It's particularly meant for those who are in ministry or are proclaiming the gospel. In other words, Christians who take seriously the commandment to take the gospel to the lost and build up the church. So let's begin with the introduction. Paul is writing from Rome. He's at the end of his life. He has had many travels. He has been rejected by his own people, accepted by some of his own people who've become Christians. He has witnessed to and proclaimed the gospel throughout the known empire, and now he's probably imprisoned in Rome. He is writing to his faithful co-minister Timothy. Timothy is a co-sender of 6 of Paul's letters that we have in the New Testament. So we're talking about 2 men that know each other really well, a senior minister and a close associate that's been very faithful. What we know about this letter, it's like listening to a one-sided conversation. If I were walking down a hallway and I heard someone on a cell phone and all I could hear is the person on the cell phone, not the person on the other end, I would have to derive or understand what's being said in that conversation based on one side. And in a sense, we're listening to Paul's side as he communicates to Timothy. From this, we know that Timothy has probably been hit. Timothy's been challenged. And those of you who know anything about church or leadership know that ministers can be shaken at times. Paul is writing to this minister, Timothy, and wanting to encourage him and strengthen him to continue on as a faithful soldier of Jesus Christ. What's important as we begin this letter is to look at what a letter is. If you haven't already, visit the series on understanding God's Word that I did. It's a 3-part series about revelation and significance of inspiration. Why that applies here is Paul is writing thousands of years ago, and the genre in which he's writing is a letter. Now, in the first century, a common letter was probably between 90 to a couple hundred words. That's not very much material. In fact, in the papyri that we find from the first century, these are just less than 1-page letters. So Paul's letters, all of them, except for maybe Philemon, are extended letters. Paul takes the letter genre of the first century for practical matters, and he expands each of the sections. What do I mean by sections? There's the opening greeting or the salutation. Then there was a 1-sentence or a phrase, health wish or thanksgiving. And then there was the body of the letter, and then the closing of the letter. Those are the main 4 parts. But what Paul does is he takes those 4 divisions and he expands each of them. So what can you take away, or what is it that we want to prepare our minds for and our hearts for as we begin this series of 12 teachings on 2 Timothy? We need to first realize that we need to learn certain interpretive tools. These series are not just meant just for devotional. They're about teaching you how to interpret God's Word. So we will include certain interpretive techniques or aspects. So be open to learn. Number 2, it's important that you ask God each time to open your heart for His encouragement, specifically what He wants to teach you. The more we align the reference points of the first century context between Paul and Timothy, and then we identify with either Paul or Timothy in our current context, the more infused or the more the Spirit can work with our faith in speaking to us now.